In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the steps you can take to transition from your 9-to-5 job and then becoming an entrepreneur, then a business owner, and finally a professional investor. All right, so let's get into it. So the first step that we really want to take is to make sure on how to prepare to leave your 9-to-5 job. Okay, so if you have a 9-to-5, the question is, how I'm going to get out of it, what is the steps to take on moving out from there. And today I'm going to give you some short steps on what I think is a good idea to do and also what I've done to get out of my own 9-to-5. So it's really important to understand that once you move out of your 9-to-5, you've got to make sure that some areas are in line and in place. It's almost like a situation where you are ready to transition. So the first thing that you really want to focus on is financial preparation. So one step that you really can take here is to build an emergency fund. So you're going to have at least an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months, so that's going to be something that's really going to help you. So the way that you can achieve this is really by making sure that on this strategy specifically, is that you at least want to save 3 to 6 months. And the way that you can do this is taking 15% of your annual salary. And you're going to take that annual salary and you're going to put this into a savings account. All right, and just make sure that this savings account is above inflation. Just make sure that it's higher than inflation, because in essence, you also want the capital that's in that savings account also needs to grow with value. Otherwise, if it's not higher than inflation, then the value of the purchasing power of that emergency money is going to go away. So you're just going to make sure that it is set into that savings account, and just make sure that it's higher than inflation. So this is really important just to remember. So first, before you do anything in your job, in your career, you're going to make sure that there is one area that is ready for you once you transition. All right, and then the next thing is, if you have any debt, you're going to make sure that if you have any debt in your personal finances, you want to make sure that you can get out of this debt. So a strategy that you also can do, and what I also like to do, is there is a yearly contribution that you can make, or there is a monthly contribution that you can make. So one that I like to do to get rid of debt first is to take at least between 10 and 15% of your monthly salary. All right. So it's actually better to get rid of your debt first if you can do that. But if you can do both, if you can, for example, manage your emergency fund and also pay down debt, that is really a good thing to do. So as well as with debt, you're going to take at least between 10 and 15%, and very much the same with an emergency fund. You're going to put that into into a savings account. And then every month you just start to build on that, and that's how you're going to pay down your debt. So it's just really important to start budgeting and to ensure that you can sustain yourself during this transition. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, and this is really an important thing to talk about, and that is having the right mindset. So having the correct mindset in entrepreneurship, going from your job to becoming an entrepreneur, is extremely important. You must have the skills and the know-how on how to transition from your job to becoming an entrepreneur. So having the right mindset is really important. And then obviously you're going to need the skills. So you must have good skills to become an entrepreneur. You have to develop those skills. If you don't have the right skills to become an entrepreneur, it's going to be very difficult for you. And one way that you really can learn from these skills or improve from these skills is having good mentors that are already in this industry. So, contact mentors, get connected with people, and they will also sharpen your skills in a sense. But before you do that, you've got to make sure that you have a good set of skills to, become an entrepreneur. And then, of course, you're going to, cultivate a mindset of resilience, determination, and continuous learning. You also must acquire the skills needed in your desired business area through, courses, mentorship, and even self-study. So it's really important just to keep all those things in mind, before you start off. All right. Okay, so once you have the necessary skills and you have spent time with mentors, this is still in your 9-to-5, you haven't moved out yet of your 9-to-5, you're still in your job, all right, in your career, but you are moving now with a mindset, with practice. You are moving away from that from their job. Okay, so one step that I also like to do is to make sure that you start off with a good side hustle. So this is an extra income that you can do, an extra income. So let's take, for example, there are lots of topics, lots of things that you can do to get a good income. But the first thing that you want to do is start with an extra income. So this extra income is just a great extra strength in a sense, to basically help you with your budgeting, with your debt. And this extra side hustle is going to help you just to make your journey to becoming an entrepreneurship just much more better. And then, so if you have your side hustle, you're going to go out and you're going to test your business idea whilst you're still employed. So make sure that, it doesn't happen to you. I've seen a lot of people is they, in their 9 to 5, they want to get out as quickly as possible and they do all these steps, they follow them, but then they impulsively jump from just quitting their job and then they start with a business idea, whatever it is, but you are still not ready, to go from that. So you still have to do a few things in order for you to successfully move from your 9 to 5. All right, so the next thing is you're also going to validate the market demand and refine your offering. It's going to be based on the feedback that you get from, the marketplace. So it's important to have that knowledge to know, what is the market, what is there good feedback from the market? Is there really something, is there a need for it? Do the people, how do they react from it? So it's really important to keep all those things in mind, just before, just jumping out. All right, so the thing is also, which is really important, is that you've got to know when to quit. So this is really, really important. So know when to quit. So you got to know when to quit. All right, so when do you know is really a good time to quit? And this is a big question a lot of people have. I myself had this question, when is the time to literally phone your boss and say, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. Thank you very much for everything. I'm starting my own journey. And this is a crucial point because in this time, you don't want to burn your bridges in a sense too quickly. So timing is extremely important, knowing when to quit. So what you're going to do is you're going to monitor your side hustle's progress. When your side hustle's income is consistently and it covers all your basic expenses, then you can consider leaving your job. So you're going to make sure that your side hustle brings in enough money to basically cover your monthly expenses, or in a sense your salary. If your side hustle starts to consistently cover your salary, which is at your job, that is a good signal that it might be time for you to leave. But you're not yet going to leave exactly. You're still going to make sure about a few things. All right, then the next is you're going to ensure you have a clear plan for scaling once you go full-time. This is also really, really important. So you've got to make sure that your plan, whatever it is that you have, that plan you've already have established clients. All right, there is a demand for it. It's something that your clients need. It's not always something that they might want to have, but you want to make sure that your business idea is something that the market demands. The clients, in essence, they need this in order to survive. If you can start a business that the clients really need to survive off from, that is a good business that you can start off with. So just keep this in mind, that once you want to quit your job and move, you're just going to make sure that this is then in place. All right, so now we're going to be focusing on step number 2, and this is to transition to entrepreneurship. So one thing that I really like to look at is once we have all this set in place, you have your emergency fund, you have a side hustle, everything is in place, your side hustle covers your salary consistently, then this is a good step for you to know that you're in the right path of moving from your job to becoming an entrepreneur. But what we're going to focus now is to transition from becoming a job to entrepreneur. All right, so what we can do is, the first thing is that you have to identify, a valuable business. You've got to focus on solving a specific problem or fulfilling a need in the market. This is important. As again, we want to make sure that there is a demand for your business. There is a need for it. So for example, people can't live without it. Clothes, gas, food, all those things that they need. So you're going to make sure that you want to start something in that line Obviously, yes, it's, you're not going to immediately start, have the capital or everything to start a massive company, but you're going to start very, very small and you're going to test a few little things out. But these are just good points to have, just to make sure that you're, in a sense, on the right path. And then you're going to conduct thorough market research, to ensure that there is a demand for your product or your service. It just really aligns with what we are really, getting into. All right, so the next step is you're going to set up your business. And remember, this is still all while you are still in your job. This is not yet, and I've talked about moving from that, but you are still going to be in your job. So there are a lot of steps to make sure before you just quit. All right, so you got to make sure at least that your business or your entrepreneurship journey has to at least be 1 or 2 years. And remember, the first 2 years you're going to go into I would say a minus, because you have capital that you are giving out. So the first 2 years are going to be the most challenging times for your business. All right, so but the steps you can take while you're in your job is to register your business and take care of all the legal requirements. You're going to establish a basic financial plan, including startup costs, initial marketing strategies, and you can also create a MVP. This is just a good way of getting yourself ready for the market. All right, so once you are there, now you have registered your business, you've gotten all your financials in place, and now it is important to overcome these initial challenges, because you are going to have challenges in your business journey, and it's important to just look at that and talk about that. So the one thing is, in your business career, you just got to stay motivated and persistent, especially when when you're facing strong feedbacks. Also, build a support network of other entrepreneurs and mentors that are with you. So I really like to look at that be in that situation, because as you go on with your journey, you're going to have setbacks, and then it becomes very emotional, stressful. You're going to have pressure. Things are not always going to work out the way you want it to. And then it is really, really, important to have good mentors that's going to stay with you. So one Bible verse that I really do like to read, and this is in Joshua 1 verse 9. And it says here that have I not commanded you? So the reason why I take scripture is really, really powerful in having a strong mindset in your business or in your entrepreneurship journey. So this is why I love reading scripture. So it says here in Joshua 1 verse 9, in the Amplified, it says, have I not commanded you? Be strong, vigorous, and very courageous. Do not be afraid, neither be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Okay, so this is just very encouraging and very powerful. So it just shows you that, if you really spend time reading scripture and you trust God for what you are busy with, then he says to you, keep strong, keep the faith, and things will work out eventually the way they should. In that timeline, yes, you're going to have challenges, it's going to be difficult, you're going to have ups and downs, but in this process, in this transition, you are still going to have strong confidence in God when you are starting with your career. So it's just important to keep that verse in mind. Okay, now we're going to be at step number 3, and this is to grow into a business owner. So once you have started with your entrepreneurship, now I would say this. So let's just get back to entrepreneurship once you've started with your own journey. So while you have all those things in place, step 1 and 2, when you have your emergency fund in place, you have an extra side hustle, you've got extra income from other side hustles that's getting in, you have registered your business, you have partnered up with people that are in the same industry, you have mentors that can guide you, and you have a business that brings you in consistent cash flow. Those are all very good steps for you then to make the decision and say, all right, there's consistency, there's enough cash flow to cover everything, and then you can transition and quit your job. All right, so once you are there, this is only the beginning of the journey. And it's really important to take everything into perspective and to talk about it. I myself have been through those phases, and I know what it is, I know what it feels like. And this is why I enjoy talking about it, because I know there's lots of people that might benefit from just having this discussion. So this is a good step for you to know when to leave your job. All right. Now I want to talk about the fine line between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. So being an entrepreneur and a business owner, in a sense, it's very difficult to sometimes shift them from each other, but there is a very, very fine line between an entrepreneur and a business owner. An entrepreneur is someone that has started a company or they started with a venture, all right, but then they're still in a position where they, in a sense, need to manage a little bit. All right, so if you're in a position where you still need to manage, then you are not yet a business owner. So the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur is that a business owner is someone who has done all the work up here. They started the company, they've put in a team in place, they've got their infrastructure ready, they've got the technology ready, everything is set and ready to go, and now they can actually move out of the business. So they don't have to be physically involved anymore. And sometimes it is actually good, to be in a position like that. So you want to make sure that, if you're in this position, you're going to make sure that the way we transition from entrepreneurship to business is you've got to have a good management team in place. You want to make sure that the people that are in place of your business are really a good team and they know exactly how to manage. So now it's not really then in essence necessary for you to be there anymore, because the person that you've put in place to manage everything is actually in essence better than you. And this is great to have someone on your team like that. All right, but just getting back to it, so if you have started with your entrepreneurship journey, your business is going good, you've got a team in place, everything is nice. Now the question is, how do we get from here to here? All right, so the way you're going to grow into a business owner is to build systems and processes. You're also going to develop efficient workflows and processes to ensure there's consistency and scalability. This is really, really important. And then you're also going to automate and delegate the routine tasks for free, to free up your time for strategic decision making. So this is the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner. A business owner has to make sure that he or she gets more clients, and they need to focus on basically the clients. Because obviously, if the client is happy, the employees are happy, there's cash flow, everyone gets paid, the business is running, and then your business starts to grow in value. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the fine line between that. But to get from here to there, it's got a lot to do with decision making, what type of business you have, how to scale, can you scale, a lot of things to take into consideration before you do that. So again, you want to make sure that you hire and manage a good team in this position. And you want to recruit employees or contractors who align with your business values and your vision. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to foster the company, the culture that encourages collaboration and innovation. So there are all those things, that you need to focus on before you transition from an entrepreneur to a business owner. But if you can get here, it's really a fun part, because then you really have quality time with the clients, and you can really, really grow your business once you get to this level. All right, so if we go on a little bit, now we are slowly but surely moving into becoming a business owner. And now for a business owner, you want to focus on growth. So this is going to be your main purpose as a business owner. You want to focus on growth. All right, so your aim is to make sure that there is in a sense, not a real ceiling on your business. And the way that you achieve this is really by connecting and networking with people who have great connections and great contracts and contacts, all those things. You're going to make sure that you really hang out with the right people. There is a reason why successful people hang out with the successful people. They rub shoulders with the right people, they talk, they connect, and this is a great way for you to extremely scale your business. So that's why it's important for you, to focus on growth. You're going to spend time, investing in the market. You're going to invest time in sales, you're going to invest time in partnership, and that is a way for you to expand your customer base. So it's really, really important to spend time with the right people in order for you to do that. And then you're also going to constantly, not always constantly, but you're just going to analyze and adapt your business strategies to the market conditions. So those are some steps that you can take once you are in a business owner position. All right, so then your focus is going to be about connecting with the right people. All right, you're going to make sure that you have your your business is almost sort of in a set and forget mode. You're not really involved with a day-to-day activity, and you're going to make sure you hang out with the right people in order for you to get great growth. And now this is a great way for you to really scale your business, all right? So this is the area where you want to be. Because the moment when you started a business, everything is set up, the more you get involved in your business, then you're going to get stuck. You're going to feel stuck. There's not going to be really any growth for you from there on. So you must have heard a lot of time where people say, you got to work, not on the business, but you got to get out of the business. So don't work in the business, work on the business. So there's reasons why people say that, because it really, really, is important to look at that. All right, so, work on the business and not in the business. And this is an area where you're going to transition from getting out of the day-to-day management. So as a business owner, you're not going to get involved in your company anymore. You are now in a position where you are a business owner. And it's important to understand this level. All right, so because in this business owner, you're going to transition from your day-to-day operations, and you're going to be more strategic. You're going to have a more strategic role. You're also going to focus on, long-term planning and growth opportunities, which we just talked about. So it's just important to have all those things in place and to make sure that you understand where you are in your business journey. Okay, so one scripture that I really like to read, and this is in Luke 14, verse 28, and it says, and this is important because this really aligns with what we're actually talking about. And it says, "For which of you, wishing to build a farm or a building, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see whether he has sufficient means to finish it?" So I've gone through this verse a lot, but it still is very, very powerful, because it is just important to understand, where you are, in a sense. If you look at a map, the first thing that you're going to ask yourself is that the GPS is going to say is that you are here. All right, so if you know where you are in your business, then it's really important for you to work out the cost, of your time, your energy, and everything. You're going to make sure where you are and what steps you need to take, to go to that next level. All right, so that's just a really great scripture that I like to read on that. Okay, so now that you have successfully become a business owner, you're in a position where you're not involved in the day-to-day management anymore. You've got a team in place. It's a team that's actually better than you. They can run it better than you. They organize it better than you. And the more you're actually not involved, the better. I've sometimes experienced myself where if I get involved with my team, and they are busy with their work, and I get involved, then there is confusion. Well, I wouldn't say confusion, but there's sort of a stumbling block, because I want to do this and they want to do that, so they're actually used to the way they do things. So as a business owner, you have to learn how to get out of your business. All right, so it's just really, important to talk about that. Okay, but now, step number 4. And this is the part which I like the most, and this is becoming an investor. Okay, so becoming an investor is really a next level of, being a successful business owner, entrepreneur. But becoming an investor really takes time, and it takes a lot of molding. It takes a lot of experience on how to get there. But there are great steps that you can take, to become a professional investor. But the main focus is that if you're an investor to get to this level, your business, what you're going to do with your business is, if you want to become a professional investor, you have to be extremely good at risk to reward analysis. So if you invest your hard-earned money, which you have received from your business, all right, so you're going to take the profits of your business, and then you're going to use this, obviously, to invest. But as an investor, it is really, really important for you to be very good at risk to reward analysis. So yes, obviously, if you invest in something, you want the reward, but the biggest focus is going to be about risk. So before you focus on the reward, first focus on the risk. This is extremely important as an investor, because you want to make sure that whatever you're getting yourself into, you're not going to get stuck, no cash flow. Sometimes people run away with the money. It happens. So you've got to make sure that you focus a lot more on the risk before you want to, get the reward. So it's really important to understand the investment vehicles, what you're getting yourself into, what type of investments you're looking at. There are lots of different type of investments. We'll get into that as well, but it's just important for you to understand this process as well, that if you're an investor, how the structure basically works is you're going to use your business's profits to become an investor, and those profits you're going to put into assets that generate you cash flow, preferably assets like real estate, stocks, and the one that I like the most is private equity. So you're going to look at purchasing other companies. That's a little bit of a higher risk, but if you know how to do it and you've gone through that, that's a really great way, of becoming extremely, really, really wealthy. All right, but you're going to educate yourself on different types of investments, including stocks, real estate, and private equity. And then you're going to start by investing in what you understand. And then you're going to gradually diversify as you gain more knowledge. So that is really important. You must understand what you're getting yourself into. So again, we're going to use the business profits for the investments, and then you're going to reinvest a portion of your profits into the business, and then you're going to spread that into different kinds of investment opportunities. So there are ways to do that, but you're just going to make sure that you diversify those profits from your business and to make sure that you invest it into different kind of opportunities. So the one thing is as well is that you want to focus on building a diversified portfolio, and that aligns with your risk tolerance and financial goals. So when you get to stocks, those are great ways, for you to diversify, looking at bonds, stocks, etc., etc. So if we get into depth I don't want to get too much into detail about stocks, but I like stocks. So there are great ways of investing in the stock market. If you have a portfolio, my preferred portfolio, and again, please, this is not financial advice. This is just the way I have learned how to manage my own portfolio. But I have around between 70 and 80%. Let me sort of draw a graph like that. I have at least 70 or 80% in aggressive growth. That means, you get Vanguard, you get Satrix. There's a lot of investment vehicles that you can do, but this is mostly important in indexes. Strong indexes to have an aggressive growth because I'm still young, you see? And then the rest is going to be in cash. Around about, if I remember correctly, my portfolio is around 15% or 10% cash, 15% bonds, and the rest is also just a little bit of cash lying around. But this is in a sense in a portfolio that I have. And then what I also like to do is I take about 5%. And I like to buy individual stocks. So I take 5%. And I go and buy a single stock sometimes. So this is also a great way just to have some aggressive growth if you want to look at buying into stocks. So I like doing this, but perhaps for another video. All right, so the next thing is you're going to create passive income streams. And this is the important part for you to becoming an investor. So you're going to look for investments that generate passive income, such as rental properties and also paying stocks that pay dividends. This is a great way of diversifying your funds and getting cash flow, because at the end of the day, it is really all about cash flow. But you first got to focus on buying the asset before you go buying other stuff, a car or renovating the house or whatever it is. First buy the assets so that the assets can pay off for your leisure life. Okay. So you can use stocks, real estate, and also private equity. Private equity is a little bit different. But as again, I think perhaps for another video, we can look at doing that. Now, so what you're going to do is you can use this passive income to fund further investments, or to support your lifestyle. All right, so this is just important to talk about that. Okay, so what we're going to do is while we're still in step 4, we're going to be focusing on, managing risk and to stay informed. And this is, again, really, really important to talk about. So you want to stay informed and focus on the risk to reward analysis. And you're going to continually educate yourself on market trends and investment strategies and regularly review and adjust your investments portfolio to mitigate the risk and maximize the return. So whatever business venture that you're going into as an investor, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's private equity, other businesses, you're just going to make sure that you focus first on the risk and then you're going to focus on the reward. Okay, one scripture that I really do like, and this is in Proverbs. This is Proverbs 21, and it's verse 5. And it says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance and advantage, but everyone who acts in haste comes surely to poverty." So this is why it is so important for you to have a plan, to have a structure, in order for you to become wealthy. King Solomon says there that those who are diligent in what they do, they have a plan, they have a strategy, they're diligent in what they do, they're consistent, then in essence that will be blessed. You will have extreme wealth in whatever it is you do. So this is why scripture is extremely powerful for you as an entrepreneur or a business owner, to make sure that you're taking the right steps on achieving success. All right. So I just really enjoy that one. All right, then we're going to be looking at step 5. All right, so step 5. So now that we've become a professional investor, or you're an investor, step number 5 is also really important to talk about, and that's going to be about building long-term vision and a legacy. So if you've achieved a lot of things in your life, which is great, but now obviously you want to leave it over to the next generation. So this is important to talk about, having a strong legacy, and it's important to have a long-term goal and a vision. So what you want to do is you want to define what success looks like for you, in the long run. It's both financially, spiritually, and personally. And then you also want to consider how you want to be remembered and the impact that you want to have on your community or your industry. So in a sense, you want to make sure that, whatever it is that you do, you want to make sure that what you leave behind impacts people's lives, and you can actually make things better for them by helping out and guiding and educating and teaching. But there are practical ways that you can do, is you can look at estate planning, which is also really important to look at. So, just getting the basics. Estate planning is also a very important part for you to make sure that, everything is, ready and set to go. You're going to create a will, you're going to establish a plan, for transferring your wealth to the next generation. And then you're also just going to consider setting up trusts or, charitable foundations to ensure your legacy, continues. And then also, one thing is to teach and to mentor, share your knowledge and experience with others, whether through mentorship, whether it's through teaching or writing a book. Those are good things that you can really, help out with. And then focus on helping others to achieve their financial independence and, entrepreneurial success. And then a great part is you can reflect back and to learn how to give back. And then you're going to regularly reflect on your journey, and how far you've come. So you're going to make sure that whatever you do, you want to reflect, you want to see, all right, I've helped out people, because that's what it's really about at the end of the day, is about how we can help each other in our business journey and so forth. So, look for ways to give back to the community, whether it is through philanthropy, volunteering, or, just supporting other entrepreneurs. This is a great way for you to get involved and to help out. All right, one scripture that I also like there, and this is in Luke 6, verse 38. And it says, "Give, and it will be given to you. They will pour into your lap a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over with no space left for more. For with the standard of measurement you use, when you do good to others, it will be measured back to you in return." So it's really important to talk about that scripture, because a lot of times when we give, you have to give with a heart that is joyful. So when you give to someone, when you're charitable someone, it has to be something that you really enjoy and you find enlightenment in it. You actually enjoy helping other people. And scripture says, by the measurement that you help other people, it will be given back to you. But it's important to give with the correct heart, because if you do it with a heart of, you're wanting back, you're giving because you want something back, then it's not out of a joyful heart, because then you're becoming greedy. But it's just important to have that scripture and to realize, if I do this, if I help people, I teach people, I educate people, I help people start businesses, I help them with their finances, whatever it is, that will come back to you. And it will come back at the right time so that you can also bear fruit and help even more people, in this journey. All right, so that is that. I hope you have enjoyed the video and hope to see you in the next one.